Hello.
Hey, how's it going,
Hey.
man?
Great. How you doing?
Man, great.
Great.
I got ashes on my forehead.
Dang.
Feels good.
That's right. I had them yesterday. Well, my
Yeah.
yesterday. My yesterday. Weird.
Well, yeah. It was yesterday for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Skincare burr. I don't think it's a skincare thing.
It is. It's
Maybe.
totally skincare.
Maybe.
They're good for you.
Yeah. Joe, tell us about them. I would just get
What about them?
way out of the
What about
Ryan,
them?
the shirt, what does it say? It says Dream Like Bosco. If you know who Bosco is, then jeez. You need to
The
be
namesake of
educated.
Bosco sticks. You ever had a Bosco stick
Yeah,
before?
I have. They have nothing to do with.
Man.
I don't know if they have anything to do with Bosco. I have to imagine that they were probably made by someone with the last name of Bosco, but probably not the Giovanni Bosco.
The same.
Mm-hmm. Bosco's where I get my middle names.
Mm-hmm. Was that the saint name you were given at your baptism?
Yeah. No, not
Yeah.
baptism. But close. I mean, it's a T. Yeah.
Man, Ryan's getting tea just
Served
from
right
the
too.
doorway, man. Man, I want a doorway where I just get stuff.
You need to move closer to your door.
Ah, it's way over there,
I don't have
man.
long enough arms for that. Ain't nobody got arms long enough for that, Joe. You can't just expect people to have long arms like that. You have to move close to the door. Maybe then it will happen. Um,
I look
yeah.
adult Ang. I don't know who Ang is.
Ang? A-N-G?
Well, Alfonso says, Joe, you look like adult Ang from Avatar.
Oh, Ang? Aong?
Ang,
Ang?
Ang,
Ang?
Ang, Ang,
Oh, it's
Ang,
Aaron. Ang.
Ang,
Yeah, A like
Ang,
Aaron. Yeah.
Ang,
Ang.
Ang,
Ang. Ang.
Aaron, Ang.
Yeah, Ang. Ang.
Ang.
There it is. I think the NG is like a Filipino NG. It means it's Nung. Aong.
Nung.
Aong.
Ah, yes.
Aong. There it is. That it is it. That's it.
So,
Aong.
is it because I have an ashen cross on my forehead, or is it just because? Just like my looks.
Yeah, probably the eyes.
I mean, I'm not blue.
It's the eyes.
Oh, it's the eyes.
Yeah. Look at those eyes. Do they not remind you of Aonung? Well, that is.
Oh man, I saw the first Avatar, but I didn't see the second one. And I guess it depends on what Avatar you're talking
which
about. Is it the
Avatar are we
Avatar with
talking
the
about?
blue people, or is it Avatar: The Last Airbender? Okay, the I've seen yeah, I did see the movie. It's because I'm bald, probably.
That's what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yes, I'm an airbender.
Mm-hmm. Watch out.
I bend the air. Make all the bald jokes you want. I don't mind.
You can bend a salad, but you can't really bend a liquid. And you can't really bend gas. But you can bend a plasma.
I can.
Impressive. I don't know how you do it, man.
It
doesn't even seem physically possible.
I impress myself.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there you go. Mm-hmm. Oh. I watch The Last Airbender and its sequel.
Wolfrix, I saw your message. What's that?
Oh, I haven't seen anything from The Last Airbender other than like one episode that my cousins were watching forever ago.
Oh, there's a live action movie, maybe two of them. If you're talking about Wolfrix is talking about a sequel. I only saw the first live action movie. And yeah. But I guess, now that I have stuff on my forehead, he did have like an arrow thing on his forehead when it's like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ha.
So how you guys doing in the chat today? How you all doing? Did you guys have a nice?
You guys look good.
Ash Wednesday. if you guys participated at all. Who probably none of you participated
They're
in
all
Ash Wednesday.
they're all probably participating in the other holiday that's today.
Oh, the Valentine's one.
Yeah, the day of the Valentine.
Hmm.
He's the
You mean Saint Valentine's, the Catholic?
Yeah. It's all
Huh.
about courtly love. We looked
Huh.
this up on Wikipedia. He's also the patron saint of something and beekeepers.
Yeah,
Some
that's
kind
right.
of
Yeah, that's the
some
same
kind.
one.
I forget what. And they have his skull in Rome.
Yeah.
I think it's in Rome,
I was
and it's
gonna
got
say it was.
like a crown of roses.
Wow.
Apparently,
Wow.
and I bet you he's bald
Well,
because
most
he's just
skulls
a
are,
skull
but
now.
I've seen skulls that are not, and I don't like it.
I know it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
You see a hairy skull.
Yeah, I don't like it. It exists. Not my thing. Ryan calling. I didn't call you guys heretics. What? You guys didn't do anything heretical. You don't have to celebrate Ash Wednesday.
Yeah,
You're not
and
even
in
part of
fact,
our religion.
it's not a holy day of obligation even. So like you
Yeah.
don't even have to go to
You
mass.
don't even have to. Even if you
You
were,
just
yeah, even if you're Catholic,
just
you don't have to
can.
do it. You just can. Yeah, that's right. And then Valentine's Day, it's also not a holy day of obligation, so you don't have to celebrate it. Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want, man.
Wow, your
Do what you
boyfriend's
want.
taking you out for sushi. What a good boyfriend. That sounds awesome. Nice.
Sushi, just like pants.
What?
Sushi pants.
What are sushi pants?
Oh, he's saying holy.
Oh, HOLEY.
Holy pants. Yeah, those are the Sunday pants, the ones with the
Mm,
holes in them.
yeah, well, mine always have 3.
3 holes
If not more. It's got pockets too
because of the
sometimes.
pockets.
The pockets count. Yes, they do. So, 1,
Oh,
2,
you're
3,
talking
4,
about a
5,
hole for
6,
the
7.
waist and a hole for each ankle.
Yeah.
Those
Mine usually have
holes.
about 8 holes.
Gotcha.
And then if you want to count every hole that's in between each zipper part, that's a lot of holes. And then each hole technically present because I'm wearing blue jeans, so the fabric has holes in it because the way that it's designed. Oh my gosh!
Oh my! Look at the magic door, man.
The magic door is very nice to.
Holy
to this
smokes, man! Wow! Look at you with your food and your tea and your everything, man.
I told you just gotta get closer to that door, man. You would.
That's all right. That's all right. I don't need food. Food's for sissies.
That's true. You'll become a sissy if you don't eat food. At some point. And then food will be for you. Because
food
you definitely need it. The magic school bus. The magic school bus. Yeah. Forget that. I have a magic door. It's cat, that's right. That's right. In the flesh. Giving kindness and love out the door into my loving hands and mouth.
There's a bit of audio popping.
Popping
audio.
Popping audio.
I don't hear any audio popping on my end. I should listen to the stream actually. And,
if there's audio popping, we'll see what we can do to fix it. Joe, let me know.
Okay, I'm listening. Talk and stuff.
I just want to make it. I just want to make it perfectly quiet. That way you can listen to the pops. You know. That way you can really hear them. If I'm talking over, how are you gonna hear them? Is it popping? Is it popping off?
I don't hear much. I don't really.
Maybe it's just the way that I'm talking.
Sounds like it's a gate.
Like a gate. Oh, well, the gate should be there. But other than that, the other stuff shouldn't sound poppy. Popping like that. Corn. Yeah, popcorn. Popcorn. My best rendition of a popcorn. It wasn't very good. It's a little bit wet. A little bit of a wet popcorn. The oil's really thick on this popcorn.
Yeah, I don't know. I do hear a little bit of it in there. It sounds like it's mostly when you talk.
Well, okay. I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry. Hopefully it doesn't interfere with the rest of the stream.
Probably it's your gate. So you just have to, when you talk, you'll just have to speak up so the gate stays open.
Yeah, fair enough. Pretty easy. I think the gate is set pretty low. I mean, I haven't seen my voice not trigger when I talk. So even when I talk quietly, yeah, it's still going. Okay, there is a point where I can talk too quiet, but generally I don't ever talk that quietly, so we should be alright. Should be alright.
Yeah. Alright.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Thanks for informing us. Hopefully it won't. If it's still going for you, August, let us know. If it might be something. I don't know if it's on your end, but some kind of connection thing or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
If it becomes a distraction, just let us know, and we will shut the whole thing down.
Yeah, won't do it. Don't worry. Even if we're in the middle of a topic, we'll just shut it down. You don't have to worry about it. I still hear it, but I'll check on my phone. Okay, cool.
And yeah. Wolfrix, I saw your message about doing a community stream today, and I saw that message, and I was like, dang it, I didn't have time to set up like a community. You know, if we're going to have both of us on here and the community, we got to have a different overlay, you know, in order to, you know, facilitate all that. And I don't have time to make that. And I think most of that is done. Ryan's the one who's got that stuff, right? You got the thing? Dude, that is ooey gooey cheesy goodness, man. Holy cow, look at that thing.
It's so good. It's like the best.
Joe, no. What do you mean no?
Ryan food tour. What are you eating? Food. I'm eating a bruschetta. It's like a mozzarella.
Bruschetta.
That is
man, I can shut it down. Actually, no,
that's
I can't.
right.
Ryan's the one who can.
That's right. That's true.
He's in charge tonight. He's producing things.
Joe can just leave.
He's got. I can. I can just be like.
It won't be half the show without Joe.
You've had plenty of shows without Joe.
It won't be half the show without you, though, because if you leave, only one half of us is here. And you're the better half, so it won't even be half the show.
No, that is an untrue statement.
Only the better half would think something like.
Also an untrue statement.
Oh, well then, okay.
Rapping. I'll wrap up your face in bubble wrap.
It's popping on both your mobile and your laptop, and it's a sick, nice beat. Nice sick beat.
Sick.
Tying my hair? Interesting.
Yeah, and the knots, man. Like, put a whole bunch of knots in it.
Yeah, I've done that before. That's happened on behalf of the wind outside, and then just go outside and you've got a bunch of knots in your hair. That's happened. Oh, popping for us in the PP voice chat.
It's popping everywhere. Hold on. Keep talking, Ryan. I'm going to turn you down in the Discord.
Wait, Discord? Are you in Discord? I'm confused. You're gonna turn me down in the
do the legal spiel.
Am I too loud?
Like you need to.
Hey guys, we aren't professionals. I did the short version. I'll do the long version. Hey guys, welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. This is the show where we talk about whatever is going on in your life. The issues, the problems, the goods, the bads. We are here to talk about it. About time we get to a topic. It's already been 15 minutes in, but I'll quickly go through the motion. You know, in this life, we all have problems. That's normal. It's really nice to have some people to talk to when you go through them. Even if it's just hashing out some things you already know, it still feels good and helps encourage us to go that next step. And sometimes it's really helpful just to get another perspective on it. Even if it doesn't change our minds, it eases us to know a little bit more about what's going on behind the scenes if we can find out what that is. So there's plenty of reasons to just talk about your experiences in life and what you're going through. And hopefully we can do it justice. We can be a friend that walks along the path with you, at least for the short moment in time. We've experienced lots of different kinds of troubles in our lives, so we're happy to, share those experiences and maybe utilize them to make your guys' lives a bit better. And so that's what we're here to do. This is Don't Worry Wednesday. We aren't professionals. We aren't psychologists or police officers or masseuses. Is that what those are called? Masseuse? Yeah. And or neither. We're not even
professional
pro gamers.
masseuses.
Mm-hmm.
I do have magic hands.
Wow. That's because he's a drummer. He knows how to drum. He's a professional drummer.
Yeah.
And musician and producer and all sorts of different stuff. But yes, that's where we are. That's who we are. That's what we do. And so welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. If you want to submit a topic, go to don'tworrywednesday.com. Again, that's don'tworrywednesday.com. The name of the show. And you can just press submit a topic and fill it out with DWW all in caps as the little password there, and tell it you're a human. If you tell it you're not a human, it will be like, okay, fine, I'm not going to submit this then because you must be a robot. So click the human button. And that's it.
Be a human.
Be a human. And be okay with it. Be proud of it. Humans are the best ones.
I don't know. I'm guessing Zay's probably right.
What is that?
That maybe it's your gate.
Okay.
Because it just seems to pop when you're coming into a phrase or starting a sentence or whatever like that. So
Okay. Well, I mean, I can check it, but there's not much I can do about it. Because I've got a noise gate on here. The only thing I can do is change the attack time. Or
you could turn the gate off.
I don't think that's a good idea.
You don't think that's a good idea?
I think it's a better idea maybe to change the whole time and release time, because if I turn the gate off, you're going to hear everything, and it's going to be noisy. You're going to hear the sounds of constant fan running, and then whenever my shirt moves, and all that kind of stuff. It's better to not have that.
I love when your shirt moves, though.
Yeah. So I could change the whole time and release time, but
Zay says the attack is too low, probably.
The attack is 0.
Attack should be 5 to 10 milliseconds.
Well, the problem is if I change the attack, what's gonna happen is you're gonna miss the beginning of my words. Yeah, it won't pop in, but then you won't be able to hear the beginning of my words. I mean, I can do it, but sometimes I talk fast and you might miss something. Even 5 milliseconds. Here you go. I'll give you 5. And now you got the 5
milliseconds. We'll see if
is it better?
I'm gonna count on you guys to see if the poppin' is changing.
All right. Well, anyways, I put it there for you. I put it at 5 milliseconds for you. Yes, butter.
Blink twice if Archer has their crossbow pointed at my head. Nope. We're good.
What?
Vana is correct. It's just it's for Ash Wednesday. It's just Ash cross. I went and he got it off center, man. I was like, I looked in the mirror at the end and I was like, dude, like
he could have aimed.
Like
I'm sorry, Joe.
Dang deacons.
Oh, it was a deacon.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Fair enough.
And it's always so funny too, because like, I don't know how it is down there in Australia, but here in Michigan, most of the people when they receive communion, they receive on the hand, and I prefer to receive on the tongue. Right? And so like it always like messes with people, especially older people. Like older deacons, when I go up there and I just like stick my tongue out and I'm like, and they're like,
yes.
Yep.
That's in most churches everywhere.
Is it?
Everyone switched to the hand back in like the 19 somethings. And
The 19 somethings.
then we went back to like, hey, let's receive by mouth. And no one was told like how to do it. Or they were told once, but no one ever actually went up there and like did that. Yeah, it confuses most people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I like confusing people.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in the chat have no idea what you're talking about, but it's all good.
Probably not. It's all right.
Good. Well,
anyway,
let's get started.
Welcome.
Let's do the show.
Hopefully our audio is better now.
Oh, good news.
Which good news? If it's about your boyfriend, I would question if that's good news.
That was good news. Sushi is great.
Forgive me.
Nothing wrong with sushi.
I'll let Ryan handle that one.
Sushi's great. Good job. Good boyfriend. Nice choices. Sidetrack. It's all good, August.
Segment 1 of driver's training. Good job.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Way to go. We'll be driving in no time. And
I mean,
driving so
probably
long,
already driving. If you're passing segment 1 of driver's training, then you probably are driving to some degree already.
Yeah. True.
Seems to me.
I like those smiley faces. I like to see those pearly whites. Beautiful. Smiles make me happy. I think smiles make everybody happy. You go to a gas station where everyone's frowning, you just smile at some people. Sometimes you get a smile back. You just like made their day better. It's awesome.
August, August, you're not sidetracking us any more than we sidetrack ourselves.
Yeah, we do to ourselves all the time. You're fine.
We do.
Let's get started on the show.
Good at
since now we're 23 minutes in, I guess.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks. You're awesome, Vanavi. You're such a light in this world. Start cooking your taquitos in 6 or 37 minutes or later. Well, how about this?
Is this an official topic?
This isn't an official topic, but if we're covering his topic, maybe that's good to ask. We've got a couple of topics here. Not very many, but a couple. So, by the way, guys, we are a little bit low on topics. If you want us to do a topic, if you have anything on your mind that you want to talk about, or you're kind of maybe like, I don't know if I want to talk about it, feel free to go to don'tworrywednesday.com because we're pretty open here. No one's ever gotten criticized for any topic they've put forward, and we just love you all. Everyone here is a loving person, and this is a space of freeness and kindness and love and joy and approval and helping people and stuff. So don't be too shy. And you can always post as anonymous so that we have no idea who posted it. Even we, the runners of the show, don't know who did it. So
right.
Yep. You are absolutely free to post it anonymously, and we won't know the difference. So, Wolfrix, no. I got a no.
I think that was answering my question of should this be a Don't Worry Wednesday topic, the taquito question.
That's fair. That is fair.
Let me tell you what, Wolfrix, you are free to decide on your own, and I know sometimes that's a daunting task to make a decision like that. You know.
We have 2 topics. Wolfrix, you want us to do yours now so that you can make your taquitos later, or would you like to make your taquitos now?
I don't know if we have a topic from Wolfrix.
Oh, did we already do it?
I think we already did it.
Oh. Well, bummer. Wolfrix,
is it
go ahead
showing up on your screen?
No, there isn't one on my screen that says it's from Wolfrix, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know, decisions, right?
Well, there you go. Go ahead and make your taquitos, man. Enjoy. Yeah. Go for it. A part of those 6 minutes are already gone, so now you don't even have 6 minutes. You just like 4 or 3 or whatever it is. All right, let's do a topic. Let's do this one that's called separating the art from the artist.
Okay.
Let's do that one. That one sounds like a good one.
Yes, let's do that one. I like that one.
Separating the art from the artist. I'm going to go ahead and prepare it, get it up on the screen for you guys. If you guys want, you are free to read along. If you don't want to do that, then don't. This was from an anonymous person, so don't know who it's from, but I think what they've got to say is pretty good. So let's give it a shot here. It reads as follows. What are your opinions on separating the art from the artist? If an artist is a terrible person, in your opinion, or does terrible things or horrible things, are you still able to listen to their music or consume their content? This is a different but similar idea too. If someone has treated you just fine but treated someone else terribly, are you able to look past the bad they did to others because they are good to you? Would love to hear your thoughts on these topics. From Anonymous. This is a really great topic. This is a really good one. I like it.
I like this topic.
Yeah.
This is good. Because, we're musicians, and so we've got stuff to say about musical stuff and arty stuff and stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff.
I've got some opinions on this one. I got some strong opinions. You might not like my opinions, but I have my opinions. Yeah, and it's interesting because...
Cats, last time you submitted rambles, it was like you did it just to make me upset.
Oh, yeah. I have a feeling if you submitted any, they would be like, "What are your thoughts on Clan Media Burgers and stuff?"
Oh my gosh! Don't even start.
Don't even give her ideas. Yes, exactly is what she said. Oof. You had a question.
No, it's
similar,
okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. I don't mind being charged up. It's all right. It definitely beats the alternative.
Yeah. Yeah, you said you had a question similar to this to a voice actor. If a voice actor doesn't like talking to someone, but they have to for their VA lines, do their opinions get in the way of their lines? I think a good voice actor, the answer is no, but I'm sure it has happened. I'm sure it has happened more than once. I mean, in this big worldwide, in this big wide world of I couldn't find any more W's. Anyways, yeah, I'm sure it's happened. And Neon on this topic. I don't think this was submitted by Neon, but it's a really good topic, and it's one that Neon very much could have submitted. But anyhow, there's so much to say on this. I have a lot of opinions. I'm sure Joe does as well, so I'm just gonna get out of his way and let him start talking on it. It's all yours, Joe.
All right. Let's see. So, is it okay to consume the content from a person you think is a bad person? I think it's okay. I don't necessarily think there's a problem with that. There are people, I definitely know of people that are like, if somebody at some company steps out of line in some little tiny way or whatever, then they boycott the whole industry, or whatever, or somebody votes the way they don't want them to or whatever, and then they boycott the whole thing, and I know people like that. And I'm like, seriously, man, like get over yourself, like I know that, their justification is, they don't want to support them monetarily, and I get that, right? They don't want to provide any support to someone who they think is doing something wrong in their opinion, because they don't want their money or their resources to support somebody who's doing something that's wrong in their opinion, right? My personal opinion, I don't care. I mean, I can not approve of what somebody does, in their personal life. In fact, a lot of people, I don't approve of what they do in their personal lives. Some of it, probably all of you, there's stuff that you're doing that I would be like, maybe I would decide to not do that, but it doesn't stop me from loving you. It doesn't stop me from caring about you. It doesn't stop me from respecting you as an artist or a person or anything like that. Like, it's like, okay, like these are two separate things, because you know what? I do all kinds of stuff that I don't necessarily approve of too, because I'm a fallen human being. And so, like, hey, you know, like, if people knew half the stuff I do, y'all probably wouldn't even listen to me. Y'all be like, I'm leaving. Don't worry, Wednesday. I don't want to listen to this guy. You know, I can't stand hearing his voice because in his personal life he does this, this, and this. You know, whatever. Blah 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 blah. You know, he eats chocolate pudding on the weekends and, you know, peanut butter every morning
I think I'm
and
gonna have to
vitamins.
close the stream down. Did you say
I know.
chocolate pudding on the?
I know.
What? Wow, sinner.
But now it's Lent, you know, because now it's belly button Lent time, you know. So like now I got, you know,
That's
so
Lent.
I might have to. Yes. Okay. Kat says, for me, I do my best to not financially support that artist. Listening to covers helps me as well. Gotcha. Depends on the situation, though. Absolutely. Now, here's the thing. I remember, I can't remember the name of the group. I think the group is called Lost Boys. Steve, one of my best friends, Steve, he, he had this, he was listening to this music, and I'm like, I've never heard this before. Can you share me the Spotify link? And he's like, actually, I can't. I'm like, well, it's on your Spotify. He's like, yeah, that's because it's uploaded to my personal, like, he's got it in his personal, you know, playlists or whatever, because you can upload your own music to your own playlists from like CDs or whatever if you had it stored somewhere. But this guy went to jail for some really, really, really serious crimes, and so like it was the lead singer of this band, and like it was nasty stuff too. Like I mean, we're talking like small child pedophilia and all kinds of stuff, right? So like, I mean, dude did some nasty stuff. He got in trouble. He got caught, and rightfully so, went to prison like he should have, right? To pay for that, because that, I mean, it's horrible, horrible, horrible stuff. But his band was fantastic. I mean, they put out some really, really good metal music, right? It was great. And but in the court proceedings and all that kind of stuff, part of the sentence was all of his stuff, anything that he had put out that he was even affiliated with, would be pulled from everywhere. So it's not going to be played anywhere. And that was just to make sure that he wasn't going to make an income while he's in prison, paying for his crimes and all that kind of stuff. But here's the problem. There are 3 other dudes in that band who didn't do what that guy did. And so they're all cut off at the knees financially too. Right? They put in that work, they put in that effort, they did all this kind of stuff. And then, but because they were affiliated with this person who did these crimes, even though they were innocent, they don't get to benefit from any of that work at all. And that, I mean, I don't know where you draw the line. I think it's appropriate to not want this person to receive income, but I feel like there might have been a better way to do that. You know, maybe cut that individual person off from the income, but not the rest of the bandmates or whatever, right? But either way, that was what they decided to do. I know it. Here's the thing: you do what you want. Follow your conscience. Follow your moral conscience, your moral compass. You know, then the second part of this question is, if someone has treated you just fine but treated someone else terribly, are you able to look past the bad they did to others because they are good to you? Yes. And I guess it depends a little bit. Because I think people are capable of change. I know people are capable of change because I myself have changed drastically over the years, and I've known other people who have changed drastically over the years too. And, you know, like, all of us have done horrible things. Except for Ryan.
Hey, I can do horrible things too, guys. Come on. Don't count
I
me out.
mean, just because you put your pants on right leg first.
No, I don't. I put on both legs at the same time. It's awful.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
then dude, that's very impressive.
Yeah,
Like,
everyone says I put my pants on like
I'm
everybody else,
more
one leg at a
impressed
time. I'm
now.
like, I usually put them on both legs at a time, so I guess I'm the evil one.
Mm. Oh, Vonavi says, and lyric videos often do not give revenue to the artist. Yep. Kat says, if it's something like, oh, Static P likes eating apples, so I'm not going to buy BSS merch. It's very different from, oh, this artist is a white supremacist and is actively fueling hatred. Yeah, you're right. It really kind of depends on the situation. To be honest, I have heard many songs that have hidden messages. Definitely depends a lot on the second part too. Just for artists, a lot of my love for music is influenced by my perception of the artist. If it was an extreme misdoing, I'd feel quite conflicted and I'd consider looking elsewhere. Yeah, I mean, I guess sometimes it depends. It depends on what it is, how it affects you personally, all this kind of stuff. Like I am not a big fan of love songs at this point in my life.
Hmm.
I kind of never have been, to be quite honest.
Hmm.
But like right now, like I'm planning on I kind of made a joke and I don't know if I'm going to follow through on this or not, but I was like, okay, I'm planning on starting drum streaming, streaming playing drums, starting a Twitch channel and doing that kind of stuff just to have fun, and spend time with you guys and whatever, right? And just have a good time and be like, hey, send me song requests. And song requests are free. You don't have to pay bits or whatever, all the different things that you got to pay for, if you follow or subscribe or whatever, you can. No, I'm just like, hey, song requests are free unless it's a love song in English.
Oh, that's funny.
Because I don't want to hear that nonsense right now.
Man, that's a lot of
Like,
songs. A lot of rock songs.
it is, man. But you know what? I'm whatever. It's fine. It's
Mm-hmm.
fine. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because if it's in some other language, then I
Yeah,
can't
Joe's not
understand what
gonna.
they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going to trigger me in some kind of weird way, right?
Your
Look
J-pop love
up your
songs.
J look up your J-pop love songs.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be just fine. But it's it's an interesting thing because I guess it just depends. You are free to set your own standards, whether I agree with it or not. Doesn't matter. You know, if I like a song, I very rarely listen to the lyrics anyway.
Hmm.
Usually I'm listening to, the drums, the bass, all the instrument bed, all that kind of stuff. And so it's so hilarious because, somebody will send me a song, like Steve especially. He'll send me a song and be like, "Man, this song just spoke to me." And I'm like, "It was a good song, man. I like the song." He's like, "Yeah, but aren't those lyrics like so pertinent to this and that and the other thing?" And I'm just like, I didn't even hear the lyrics. I thought the bass player did a really good job, like
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
um, oh, the other thing, if you're gonna request Zay, I don't know if you're still here or not, Zay, but you might. I think I told you this already. You might be auto banned from requesting
Oh
songs just
wow.
because I know. I, I just had this feeling you're just gonna send a song to make me sweat and make me look like a fool.
Hmm. That sounds right. Sounds
But
like
that's
something
okay.
a lot
Whatever,
of musicians would do. Oh look, a
it would be
musician. I'm gonna make him
hilarious.
sweat. Mm-hmm.
Oh man. All right. So anyway, here's the thing though. Like you can tell a lot about a person. Like if I'm just getting to know somebody, like and we go and have a coffee together, right? Or something like that. And, I guess it depends. So, for instance, you can tell a lot about a person's character by the way they treat the wait staff
Yeah.
at a place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if I go to a restaurant with somebody and I don't really know them all that well yet, and we go grab a coffee or whatever, and they're just, they're really, really nice to me. but they're a total jerk to the person that is waiting on us, then that person is probably not going to reach my inner circle of friendship.
Mm-hmm.
They might be outside the outer circle.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And that's an interesting thing because like you always it kind of boils down to trust at that point. When you're dealing with somebody that's your friend, it kind of comes down to trust. It's very similar to like if I'm your friend and um you treat me really nice, but like I said, you're mean to other people when we're out or whatever like that. It's like how do I know that you're not or here's a big indicator. If you gossip a lot,
Mm.
if that person gossips a lot. Now, I talk about other people too, like we all do, but like if it's just like there's a difference between like telling information that's, hopefully going to benefit us both or whatever and just bad-mouthing people,
Mm.
There's kind of a difference there. And it's like, because sometimes you gotta let people know information in order to maybe look out for somebody,
Mm-hmm.
to be on the lookout, just for our own sanity and our own safety and whatever, right? But if it's just gossip, gossip, gossip all the time, then like that's kind of an indicator too, because then when I'm not there, are they gossiping about me?
You can
Maybe
kind
they
of
are, maybe they aren't.
one thing that you can kind of do weird about people who gossip, read their faces when they're talking. If you read someone's face when they talk bad about someone else, it kind
Hmm.
of shows a lot about how they feel about, like, if they're talking about someone else and it's not good news, but you can see their face is somber, it's sad, it's distraught or whatever. It's like, okay, that's not a gossip. That's someone who's relaying their honest opinions and feelings, looking for a way out of it, or looking
Mm.
for some consolation or some justification or something.
Hmm.
But if their
Yeah.
face, when they're talking about someone bad, has this look of like excitement or maybe a little bit of joy or um, like they're really passionate or interested in talking about it, it's like, okay, now you're kind of getting on the side of gossip because you're gossiping for the sake of your own, you're like hurting someone else for the sake of your own joy. That's,
Hmm.
yeah, so yeah, I think it's an easy way to tell is just read their faces when they talk about it.
Sure. Well, and sometimes it's therapeutic too, right?
Oh yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
for instance, Steve and I have great conversations about our ex-wives.
Sure.
And there's maybe not nice things to be said.
Mm-hmm.
There might be some name calling. There might be some questionable language.
Questionable language. Is that language that's like, I believe in mock it. And it's like, I'm not sure what he just said. That was questionable.
Right. But sometimes that's therapeutic, right? Because you got like talking about situations, talking about all this kind of stuff, and then also being there to support somebody and being like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I totally get where you're coming from and this and that and the other thing. Like sometimes that's part of, helping process a bad incident or,
Mm-hmm.
all this kind of stuff, right? And so like there's all these little caveats to things, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It kind of boils down to trust. You know, if the way somebody is treating another person makes me question if I can trust them or not, then I'm going to have a hard time with them as a close friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably. And the same thing if somebody, like it's weird, man. Things kind of go in threes for me. My therapist was always just like, hey, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me again, or no, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, like this kind of stuff, these sayings.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll even give people more than two chances. And then like, but usually by the third time somebody does something that really hurts, it's kind of like, all right, like we're just gonna have to keep our distance for a while.
Mhm.
But anyway, I don't know. I've talked for a while. I'm gonna give it over to Ryan. Hopefully, I didn't offend any of you guys.
Yeah,
If I
hopefully.
did,
Well,
I'm sorry.
it's okay to be offended, guys. Sometimes if being offended helps us readjust what we need to adjust inside. I think that's
I'll off end you.
an underestimated, an underlived and underestimated, or undervalued. That's the word I'm looking for. Undervalued experience is the experience of being offended, and then recognizing I'm in the wrong for being offended, or there's something wrong with me for me to be have been offended by that. I think that's a undervalued experience. I think, anyways, not very many people experience of taking offense and then go to the next step. They just say I'm offended and now I'm angry and I hate that person, and they never try to make anything good out of it. But anyways, I think it's okay to be offended, and it's okay if you're offended right now by what I just said. If it helps you move forward in life, I think that's important, even if sometimes it hurts. That's what offense is, you know. We all have to experience that. Anyways, onto the topic. There's a couple of things. I might take a slightly different approach than what Joe does, so I'm happy to talk on it and and put my thoughts forward. Again, you can, as whoever posted this or anybody in the chat, you guys can decide for yourselves what you think is right and wrong. There are certain circumstances where, like you're talking about, if someone does terrible or horrible things, and do you still listen to their music or consume their content? A couple of things. One, before you get to that point, what is their content saying to you? Because if their content itself is not very healthy for you, I would suggest maybe not taking it. If you have a pill in front of you and you're like, oh, this pill is not a pill I need. In fact, it would be unhealthy for me to take it. And then you choose to take it. It's like, why did you do that? I don't know, entertainment. Okay, fine. You don't. It's really not a good idea. And same thing with music. If you got music and the content itself is not healthy for your mind, I would suggest. And the thing is, I'm not a health freak, right? I'm not like I eat sugar. I like sugar. I recognize that there's some good in everything. But when there's something that is literally just going to program your brain to be rotten inside, I would suggest that's one of your most important assets in life, your brain. Don't rot it. Don't try to don't implant on purpose music and messages that are going to harm it, or it's going to lead to self-harm. Whether that mean physical or just mental self-harm, right? It could be ones that destroy your relationships. There are a lot of songs that are about destroyed relationships, and they don't do anything to help, like, add value to that sentiment. It's all just, these people are crappy. I hate women, or I hate men, blah, 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 blah. It's like, those songs, they're not good for you. They're not healthy. They're not going to train you to be a better person. I get that you relate to it, sure, but that just because you relate to it doesn't mean it is what's good for you and healthy for you. So I think, what are you consuming to begin with? I think that's an important thing. Now, let's say this person makes content that's really nice and lovely, but behind the scenes they do something terrible. Okay, I have a different thought for that one. Because if their content is good and they did terrible things in the background, they probably aren't proud of the things they did in the background. But you know what? Maybe they are. There's record of people who have become big Christian artists who sing songs on Christian stages to masses, and behind the scenes they're not even Christian. They just pretend to be so they can get money.
Mm-hmm.
It's happened. It exists.
Mm-hmm.
And it exists even today. So it's like, okay, if I find out that that's the case, maybe I won't listen to their music anymore, since their intentions with my money aren't something I want And I don't think that the way they're doing business is good. I don't think the way that they're doing business is good. I don't respect it, right? I don't think that's honest, right? And why would I go to a restaurant if they aren't being honest with me? Why would I go to any place if they're not being honest with me, right? If it's a song artist, same thing. If they're not being honest with me, then I wouldn't want to support them. My last thought is, well, not my last, but a continued thought is to the next extreme. I'm just going to throw out an extreme that everyone can recognize and kind of agrees on. Hitler, right? Okay, Hitler did a lot of bad stuff, okay? And during his regime, there was a lot of chances to support him with money. And there was a lot of propaganda, and there was a lot of different entertainment sources that you could fund that went to him. And so if I was in the recognition of, hey, look, I might like some of this content I'm eating, I'm chewing on, but if it ultimately feeds Hitler and everything he wants to do to destroy people and human beings, it's like, no, I'm going to stay my hand and I'm not going to give him the money. Even if I want that good content, even if I want that juicy meal or that, that euphoria of entertainment that I'm going to get. It's like it's not good enough to have those things if they cause terrible things to happen. Yeah, sorry, Riku. Germany is awesome. Germany isn't... Okay, I just want to say, I hope no one looks at Germany and thinks Hitler. Because Germany is awesome, and I know a lot of awesome people from there. And I'm sorry that happened in Germany, but that could have happened anywhere. So it's not Germany who did that. So I think that's important to say, in case anyone felt any, those German people are awesome. I know a lot of really good ones. So my point here is, I mean, it's right along the lines of Joe said, it depends on the context. And there are probably people that I wouldn't want to support, and there are probably people that I think is just fine. There are probably people who are like, yeah, no, I hate that I did that too. That was awful of me, and there are times that I do stupid stuff, and I regret it. And there are times that I give in to these terrible thoughts in my head, and I regret it. Sometimes I'm just not my best self, and it's like, yeah, I understand that, and there's some amount of forgiveness there that you can give, and you can wish well of them. And then whether you decide you want to continue giving them money or not is up to you. But I think there are times where it's fine. Everyone deserves is not the right word, because deserves is absolutely not true. Not everybody deserves forgiveness. In fact, no one deserves forgiveness, because that's the nature of forgiveness. But we all are problematic. But we're all also an incredible force of good. An incredible force for good. So we can be either. And we are oftentimes both. Maybe even in the same day. So I think it's important to recognize, like, hey, just because someone did something wrong doesn't define them. And it's not what they stand for. It's not what they're earning money to do. And sometimes people are just confused. Sometimes they get caught up in stuff, right? Like, there are all sorts of things that you think other people are caught up in, and they're complete lies. They're conspiracies. I mean, I could go down the road. I mean, let's just talk about COVID and all the conspiracies that happened during COVID and how many misguided everybody was, right? And then it wasn't just like, oh, you're misguided, you don't understand how this works. It was like, no, you're an enemy and we need to kill you because you're being so rotten not wearing a face mask. Like, people got up that crazy. And that was normal.
It went the other way too.
And exactly, and I was about to say, and then it went the other way too. And people are like, you're wearing a mask, you must be a traitor to the United States of America. You're a terrible person. You don't do your research at all. You don't know what you're talking about. You're insane. Mm-hmm. And it's like that stuff happens. And so when you realize, like, you live in a world where the media and yourself are working together to make enemies of people just so that you can have some sort of stirring in your heart to like annihilate something. Like, sometimes you have to recognize where you've gone wrong, or you've gone too far, or it's just recognize that that exists out there, even so that you don't tread those paths. Because in the end, in the end of COVID, we decided, okay, yeah, we were a little too extreme on one end, we were a little too extreme on the opposite end. Like, in the end, everybody was wrong. Everyone did stupid stuff and made mistakes. And it's like, okay, there you have it. It's like, that's kind of how you should take a lot of things in life. And so when someone messes stuff up, sometimes you just have to go, okay, they were probably really, like, there could have been any number of things. Misinformed, not themselves, drunk, who knows? And it's like, okay, then you can, after you've identified, like, yeah, they made a big mistake, but like, we all make mistakes and we can all be extremists at times. You can just kind of like relax a little bit and go, okay, let's think logically about this. If I give them money from help, like listening to their content gives them money, right? So if I give them money, what are they going to do with it? And your answer can be obviously, well, I don't know. But your answer can also be, well, it sounds like they're not trying to run like a regime where they're trying to annihilate the most amount of Jews possible on the face of the earth. It doesn't seem like that's what they're trying to do. So, it's like, it's probably okay. Probably okay. And they might just be like, for example, my mom and my stepdad, they don't buy Girl Scout cookies anymore. They used to. In fact, my stepdad, it was like one of his favorite cookies, and he liked it, and he was happy to buy from them. It made him happy to buy from them because it was, at the time, it was for like a good cause, and he had girls of his own, and it was great. And then they decided to be pro-abortion. And at that time, they said, okay, then we're not going to buy anything from you guys anymore. And so they haven't bought anything from them since, because Girl Scouts is now pro-abortion. And you can look at that and be like, okay, fair. You don't want money going to them because they're continuing to teach people to be more pro-abortion and you're against it. Okay, I get it. To me, that makes sense. But at the same time, they are probably potentially just confused, right? On the subject. Because how could they be completely... It's like when we're talking just people from the world. We're talking people that are young and too innocent to know the difference between lots of different things. And I know this is a hot topic, right? Everyone has their own opinions. My point is, sometimes we're just going with the flow and what the world around us is telling us. And we're just like, yeah, that's the truth. Because we don't have the time to do critical thinking, or we don't have the mind to do critical thinking. What's right and what's wrong here? I have my views because I'm religious and this is what my religion taught me. And so those are my views. It's like, okay, great. But take the time and do critical thinking, because otherwise, who knows what you're spending your money on? And so I think all of it is contextual. So to answer your question, context matters. And is the person you're giving your money to a critical thinker? Or are they not a critical thinker and they're just going with the flow and they're doing terrible things because that's where the flow is? Because that very much happens. So I would look into that. That's what I would suggest. And that's the best I can do for that. Obviously, everybody's different. Moving on. Mm-hmm. And again, lastly, some people have awesome goals. They desire to do so much good for the world, but they have hiccups. And sometimes they go with the flow on something they didn't recognize was an evil, right? That happens. And so forgiveness is good. Now, if we're talking about people for me, if I see someone treat another person terribly, I can't possibly ignore it because of my personality. I'll tell you, you asked this question. Are you able to look past the bad that they did to others because they're good to you? What's interesting about that question to me is usually that question doesn't get asked that way. It's the opposite. It's like, okay, how do I say this? In my experience with people in this world, you asking the question, are you able to look past the bad they did to others because they're good to you? My experience with people in the world is clearly you're not a normal person. It's because most people are like, they completely ignore the bad that another person does to other people, so long as they're always good to them. It's like they look at the character of a person not based on how they treat other people, but solely on how they're treated, what they want out of that what they want out of that person and what they're willing to give them. Like a lot of people, like they don't see that. They don't even notice. It's like, oh, they were bad to another person. Like they don't even notice. The thing they notice is that, oh, they're always so good to me. And in fact, having that, like some people find security when they see this person doesn't treat other people well, but they treat me nicely. That means I'm in the inn. I'm awesome. I'm special to them.
That's a slippery slope, though.
That is a slippery slope. Yeah, that is a bad place to be. And so what I'm saying is I'm really glad that's not where you are. I'm really glad that is not where you are, because I know a lot of people in my lifetime that I've come across that that's where they are. And so I am pleased deeply that you even asked this question, because to me it shows that you have an open mind to recognize that's not a good situation to be in, and that you can judge, like you can actually be a good judge of people's character, because you're not just judging things and like, oh, they're good to me, so like I must be special, I must be cool. You know, you can see beyond all of that stuff. I think that's great. And so here's my thoughts. Are you able to look past the bad that others do? Period. My answer is yes, because I can forgive, and I have the same kind of experience as Joe. It's like I don't have a count system. I don't count to 3, you know, but I forgive people. Maybe endlessly. Some people, yes, absolutely. I will forgive them endlessly. And others, I won't. It's just the way it is. And I know that's not very helpful, because I didn't write it out, who is who and what and why. But it's, I mean, the truth is there are people that I will forgive endlessly. If as soon as they're willing to come back to be a good person again and be in my presence, I will always say yes, because I love them in that way. And I love everybody. And I think that anybody who's willing to become a better person and come back into my life as a better person, fixing their problems and wanting the good of themselves and wanting the good of me and wanting the good of others around them, like I will welcome anybody into my life that's like that. But not everybody is capable of making that shift in their mind, and I recognize that. And it's a shame. It's unfortunate. Some of these people are unfortunately unable to, because of drugs or alcohol that they had when they were young. It happens. Their mind isn't capable of getting to that place. You know, other people, you know, they just won't make that step. And so the way I think of it is, if someone's in my presence and does something terrible to another person, I can't even let them address me as if they're anything but terrible. Because when my mind sees that, my mind focuses really hard on that. I'm like, that person, like, if they did me wrong, I wouldn't care. But if they did someone else wrong, I care. Do you get it? Like, that's who I am. That's a lot of times who I am. If they wrong me, it's like, okay, maybe I don't need to talk to you anymore. But like, I'll forgive you. We'll see how it goes. You know? Like, if someone does something wrong to me, I'll be like, hey, don't worry about it. Let's move forward. Let's just try to be the best people we can be, right? That's my approach is. Whether or not maybe it'd be better if I didn't talk to them at all, I don't know, because I can't know that. All I can do is give my best. And so for me, giving my best is swallowing the pill, I guess. That's not a word. enduring the pain and just moving forward with this person and helping them. But here's the thing. Someone else hurts someone else. To me, that's not something I can forgive, because it's not me. It's something that I'm called to defend because of my personality. I'm just like, whoa. You can't talk bad about this person. You don't know them. You can't say those words. Like, I will defend someone I don't even know. And I do it often. I will happily be the devil's advocate when it comes to defending somebody else that I don't even know. I do it all the time. There are many times where I don't know both parties and I just hear wind of something bad happening and I just immediately take defense to something. And I try to just like navigate it so that people are on equal planes and like we shouldn't be attacking people here, right? So that's my personality. So for me, you say, are you able to look past the bad that they did to others because they are good to you? My answer is, what they do to others is how I look at them. And so, like, if they're good to me, it doesn't change anything. Like, if they're good to me, it doesn't change anything because I already thought highly of them. When I meet someone, I generally just, boom, I think highly of you. For the first time we ever met. Because there's no reason for me to think other than highly of you. So here we are, you've made it here, you're a human being, and we're face to face, and I'm talking to you, I already think high of you. And if you do something bad to me, sure, I might think a little less of you, but generally, I won't care. I mean, I will be the first to be like, hey, you're probably just having a bad day. Or, you know what, sometimes we make mistakes, sometimes we say stuff that was like, wow, why did I say that? That was horrible, right? Sometimes we make mistakes. To me, I'm the first one to just like go, yeah, sure, I don't care. No skin off my back. But if they do something bad to someone else, that affects me more. So, yeah, it's like, I don't know. To answer this question, I don't think I'm in the right mind frame because I'm not the kind of person ever that if someone does something good to me, a lot of times, like I see it and I'm thankful. Not that I don't see it. I see it and I'm very thankful. But it doesn't make me think higher of them. I already think highly of them. So when they do bad things to other people, then I think less of them. You know? And I still give them chances, though. I still give them chances like, hey, maybe he just had a bad day. Maybe that person really egged him on. I don't know their history. You know? Maybe that person was ruthlessly terrible with this, you know, and they finally just let loose and showed their bad side for the first time in 11 years. And now that's what I got to see of them. You know? And sometimes that happens. Sometimes that's your first impression of someone. Is that one time their fuse blew, right? So, yeah. Neon says, I learned that letting people treat me badly allows them to affect others in a bad way through me. Absolutely true. There's a lot to be talked on about that. If other people are treating you badly, you don't address it, like you don't make it known, like, hey, that's not okay. You accidentally empower them to keep on doing that even more. You encourage them to continue bad activity because you let them get away with it. You give them a reward for doing something bad, right? And then they might use you, yeah, for doing terrible things as well. Absolutely. So, yeah, I completely agree with that. My point isn't to say, let everybody off the hook. My point is to say, there's a bar and hold people to it. Don't let anybody off the hook. Like literally the best thing you can do is don't let anybody off the hook. You can forgive people. That's a good thing. But don't let people off the hook, right? It's like if someone's being terrible, if my friend is being terrible to another person, I will talk to them about it. I'm the kind of person that will go, hey, look, what was that? Like, let's talk about it. And I'll do it in a way that's really kind and comforting to them. I will find a way to talk to them in a peaceful environment and be like, hey, like, I know, like I will find a way to talk to them in a way that they're comfortable with just being open and recognizing like, yeah, I could have done something better there. You know, let's maybe fix that for next time, right? And that just takes some love and care and conversation, right? But yeah, I don't let anybody off the hook when I see it. Well, it depends. There are people I let off the hook, and it's the people that I don't have any influence over. If they're not my friend in the first place and they do something terrible, I know that I'm not going to make much of a difference by yelling at them. I'm not going to make any difference by yelling at them. I might make a difference by becoming their friend. That's true. But a lot of people I don't have have the time to just become their friend. And so there are many times where I can't do anything. So if someone's good to me but they're bad to other people, I see that, and I don't let them off the hook for that. And I don't think it's not my place to judge everybody, right? It's my place. It's not my place to judge everybody and how bad they are. What my place is to bring the best out of everybody. And that applies to all of us. That applies to you, right? It's not your place to look at someone and figure out how bad they are. It's your place to bring them up to the next level. And sometimes that requires recognizing where they're bad, but not for the sake of like showing them how bad they are. It's for the sake of bringing them up and helping them become a better person. That applies to all of us. That's how you're supposed to utilize your brain in recognizing when something is wrong. It's to solve the problem. When you recognize people are terrible people, you don't feel, it's not good to necessarily just take that in and feel better about yourself. Like, at least I'm not that bad of a person, or, those kinds of things. Or it's like, oh, that person's a really terrible person and it makes you happy inside. Like, okay, that's okay if that's where you're at right now. But I think a better thing would be if you can take that experience of that person's really bad, instead of maybe just internalizing it, take it and address it with that person and try to help them grow. And that can come in many ways. And there's a lot of different personalities, and some ways work for certain personalities and some ways don't. Right? And so I'm not going to get into the depths of that because that is a lot. That's a whole book. You can read a book on that if you want. But I would say best thing you can do, if you meet someone, and it sounds like you have, they're bad to other people, but they're good to you, don't feel special. Don't feel like, oh, I'm special, so therefore this is a good thing for me. Don't take it that way. I would say the best thing you can do for them is to help them become a better person. Because they should be holding the bar high enough for themselves that they're not like that. But clearly they aren't holding the bar high for themselves. So something has gone wrong, right? Because usually anyways, as a healthy person, we don't do that kind of stuff. We try to treat everybody with love and kindness, even when they don't deserve it. It's like, treat people with love, because that's what gets us moving forward in society. And so, like, if they're not holding that bar on themselves and they're able to they feel okay, maybe they don't feel okay with it, but wherever they've done, they're treating other people terribly and then you well. I would say take that as a vantage point, because you're the one person, or you're one of the few people that can make a difference. Because if they treat you well, it means they probably have some respect for you, or at least are listening to you, right? And so you have a different position than most people. So you are probably the person that has to step up and be like, hey, buddy, why can you talk to me about why you treated that person that way? And then they're going to give you their answer. And then you have to take that and go, okay, I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. I can see why you would be driven to do that. I just don't like it. It made me upset to see you have to stumble down to that level, because I know that you're a better person than that. And so I just wanted to talk about it and see where you were at that moment, because that didn't look, I mean, you never treat me that way. So I figured something was wrong, right? And to be able to say that, to say hey, you never treat me that way, I figured something was wrong. I just wanted to talk about it. It's a movement forward. It helps them a lot. And then you can take that and you can slowly move them towards, hey, let's treat everybody with love, right? So anyways, I've talked for a really long time on this. And I hope that all that made sense and it was helpful. A lot of it was probably stuff you already know, but it helps to just go back to the stuff you already know and hear it again. So anyways, with that, I'm going to give it back over to Joe. Joe, do you have anything you wanted to add?
I do. Just to piggyback on what you were just talking about, the whole thing about, if somebody's treating you nicely and treating other people badly on a consistent basis, I look at that after experiencing this as a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
Unless you can do what Ryan was talking about and help them hold themselves to a higher standard in that regard, right? Because if somebody's acting like that and they're treating other people badly, but you're like kind of you're like one of the golden people to them or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right? All it takes is one false move or one mistake or maybe just the passage of time, and they just kind of get tired of you or whatever. And then all of a sudden you're in the group that's getting treated badly.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's because they have that habit of doing that, right? So what Ryan's saying is absolutely true. If we can, just have a standard of loving others, and that's what we try to exude, that we love other people, then hopefully we can, influence people who are maybe not acting loving towards others, right? Maybe we can have a good influence on them and help them understand that there's a better way to live. They will feel better, right? Because it doesn't feel good to think bad about people all the time. That doesn't feel good. I mean, it might feel like satisfying in the moment, where we're just like, we're like, we're nursing being mad, and we're just like, whatever, and sometimes there's some healing that needs to take place, right? But, when you can fill yourself with love instead of hatred, you feel better. And they will feel better too. Right? Hey, Ivanovi, nice to see you too. Mianglios, if you're still here, thanks for stopping in. And Mialado, everybody. Hey, thanks for stopping in.
Yeah. Hope you guys have an awesome night.
I did also see Kishin. You had said something up here. So Kawhi, you were talking about, depends on what they did, how concrete evidence is, how much it changes meaning of their work. There are a lot of factors, and modern cancellations are baseless. A lot of them. You're absolutely right. The whole cancel culture, it kind of makes me laugh a little bit because it's just like, really? Really? What, have you never made a mistake?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to cancel this. What makes you so perfect? I ask myself that same question. I look myself in the mirror. What makes you so perfect, Joe? If I'm judging somebody or whatever.
The answer is going to be immediately nothing. I'm not perfect. Like everyone
exactly
will have that answer.
Exactly. But it's so funny because a lot of times, Ryan talked about holding the bar high, and, he's talking about it in terms of, a standard of behavior, a standard of, like, hey, I'm going to love you, but I think that, like we can all be better people. And so let's strive for that, right? That's his version of holding the bar high. Some people hold the bar high and they're like, well, if you don't do everything perfectly, I'm going to cancel you. But everybody should deal with my mistakes.
Yeah.
And if they cancel me, well, why would they cancel? It's like, seriously, come on. Like, we judge ourselves. Wait, we judge others based on their actions, and we judge ourselves based on our intentions. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
we tend to do that all the time.
I always try to judge others based on their intentions, and that's a hard thing to do because you don't know what they are, but you have to learn.
Yep. And okay, but then Kishin Slayer, you said in the chat, you said, always thought it was interesting that the Bible says to forgive 7 times, 70 times, but it also says to avoid bad influence and stay away from bad company. It's an interesting line to walk, and I would say that's easy. Forgiveness is not the same as trust. Just because you forgive someone doesn't mean you let them back into your heart. Just because you forgive someone doesn't mean you let them back into your social circle. Just because you forgive someone doesn't mean that you become all buddy-buddy with them again. You can forgive someone and never associate with them again. Forgiveness is about what's in the disposition of your heart. Are you like holding all this malice towards somebody? That's unforgiveness.
Are you looking for he's still looking for justification or like justice
or revenge or
revenge
whatever,
especially.
right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like that. So forgiveness is letting all those feelings of revenge go and just like, you know what, whatever, just whatever. That's forgiveness. I'll love you from a distance. Because I have people that I've forgiven and I'm just like, look, I'm not going to talk to you. You know?
Yeah, I would say a really good way to say this is if loving someone is to desire the best for them, and hating someone is to desire the worst for them. When you have unforgiveness in your heart, you have hate. You want bad for them.
Mm-hmm. You're
Forgiveness
desiring
is
the worst
returning to the state of, I want the best for you. But the best for them doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be in your life. Because there are times where you're just not going to be good for each other, or good influences, for example, with each other. You want the best for yourself in life, and you want the best for them in life. And sometimes you know that that's not you two being together. That's going your separate ways and living your lives out, and in a way that still helps to foster that, but isn't like you going, oh, I want to hurt them. I want the worst for them. I hope that their life gets just worse and worse from here. So I think that's a good way to kind of understand forgiveness in that sense.
Yep. And Kishan, you're also right. You're talking about one of your best friends there that you held them to a higher standard. And of course, and we're attracted to that at times, right? It's like, okay, and then because when we're around people who can help make us better, that's a good thing, And it can kind of be a test on the company you're keeping too, because if somebody just, continues to behave poorly and like, or, throws it back in your face if you mention something or whatever, then hey, it could just be a bad situation and you might want to just distance yourself, or put some distance in. Wolfric says, they treat you kindly and others meanly. They could be using you. And Neon Blue says it also can be a trap. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It is not fun to be used. It is not. I mean, people, they only want you around because they want something out of you, or you're going to gain some benefit for them or whatever, right? And it's like, what happened to being a friend where we love each other and we value each other and all this kind of stuff? It's like, no, you just want what you can get out of me, right? Right. So they could absolutely be using you. They see some benefit for them in associating with you. And so they want to keep the association alive. And so they treat you all butterflies and happy and all this kind of stuff, right? But as soon as they either they accomplish what they're looking for from you,
or figure out you can't do it,
or figure out that you can't do it or you're not going to do it, then immediately, man, they're going to turn. They're going to turn on you. And they're, you're going to be in the outer circle again. You're going to be outside the outer circle. Right?
Yeah, it really depends on the person you're dealing with. They could be any number of reasons for treating you well and other people bad. I mean, they could be legitimately like have a mental disorder, like what do you call that? Well, you know the one. Why can't I think of it?
What? Narcissism?
Well, you don't have, narcissism. Yeah, they could be
narcissistic personality
and
disorder.
then that's one thing, but they could just be not, and they have empathy and so on. And so it's like there's a possibility you're dealing with someone who's extreme and they won't ever change their mind about this. And then there's also that possibility that they could. And if you gave them a little more respect, like Kishan said, you had hold them to a higher level, they'll reach it. They'll reach for it. If they're that kind of person, that's lovely. So it's like you kind of got to come at this from a lot of different angles,
right?
Without and saving the worst for last, I think, because you don't want to just ditch someone when you could have made a difference. And you recognize they are capable of being a good person. You just gave up on them. Like, that's not a good feeling. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, just be
No,
aware of the signs. Be aware of the red flags, because if you see them, don't doubt them. You're probably seeing them correctly. You don't need to make excuses for them.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. After some of my experiences, I just don't have time for people I can't trust.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know,
That's absolutely fair.
just like, hey, if you betray my trust a handful of times, I mean, I'll give you, I don't know, I'll give you some passes, man. But like, you screw me over a handful of times, and look, I mean, I'm an idealist, and maybe that's the problem. Maybe the problem is because like I'm committed. I probably need to be committed
Hmm.
to an institution, but like I commit to an idea, or I commit to, a plan or a person or whatever, and I make strong commitments, right?
Hmm.
And and hey, I'll make a strong commitment with you, with whoever, and like then, but man, you betray me a bunch of times, then I'm going to be committed to not
Right.
having you around. You know what I mean? And I'll commit just as hard in that direction. And it's part of that. I don't know. Maybe it's part of being an INFJ. Maybe I
It
don't
was
know. Whatever.
intense. Yeah, no, that's great.
Well,
No, no, don't worry.
I don't,
You're not. You're fine.
and
Um,
it has nothing to do with unforgiveness, because it's not that I don't forgive them. I forgive them, but I'm just not going to trust them.
mhm.
I'm not going to let them come back in and make a big old mess again, because they've hurt me that many times already. And I spent years and years and years getting hurt over and over and over and over and over again, and just stuck with it and stuck with it and stuck with it and stuck with it and stuck with it way longer than I should have. And I've done this multiple times with different people, organizations. Like Ryan has seen me go through that. We've known each other for a long time, and you've seen me do that with people and
Mhm.
groups and all
Yeah,
kinds of stuff, right?
that's
Like,
fine.
where I'm committed. I'm
Mhm.
absolutely committed, even though they're like clearly abusive, right? But then you learn some stuff, and then you're just like, okay, once I start to get that, I mean, the doors will close. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, one of my thoughts here
Um,
is like, it's interesting because like some things like this is just like not worth. It's like, you know that the friendship isn't going to. Maybe it will. So you don't know that with this person, but there are times when you come to a point where you're like, do I really want to waste my time? I know that this friendship isn't already this friendship isn't starting off on the right foot. I can see that they're being bad to people and being good to me. Like, you see that kind of stuff and you're like, is this the person that's going to be my best friend for life? Is this one of the top 5 people that are going to be in my life for a very long time? And they're going to be the person that I'm trusting all sorts of different stuff, tasks, thoughts, ideas, whatever with. And then your answer is like, well, no, I don't think that's the case. And it's like, well, then why are you wasting your time? Then the other part of me goes, well, who's going to waste their time on this punk then? If not you, who? Are they ever going to find someone that's willing to like be their good friend? And the answer is no. They're going to find some other poor schmuck that acts just like them, and they're going to be buddy buddy and make each other worse. It's like,
mhm.
that's not great. Okay. So it's like, well, I'm going to get in here while I can, and then eventually, we'll probably slip apart. We'll probably fade. Our niches won't match, and eventually they're going to disappear from my life. But while I'm
Mhm.
here, I'm going to make the best impact that I can to prepare them for meeting someone that actually is going to be worth their time. Because where they are right now, I wouldn't want them to leave me where they are
Mm.
right now and go off into the world. So that's kind of my view on it. And I'm not saying that that's what you need to do. I'm just
That's
saying that's how
because
I
you have a
handle it.
heart of gold, Ryan.
Well, maybe.
And I hope you don't have to endure a whole ton of abuse.
Oh yeah. Well,
And
I
that,
mean, luckily I have a good way of just separating it out. It's like,
mhm.
yeah, just just separating it out from my emotion and my feelings, and just passing on and be like, yeah, that person's just messed up and that's where they're at, and then just letting it go. You know. So luckily it's not too bad, but there are times where it gets hard, for sure.
Yep.
You know, if you want to do any good in the world, though, it's going to be hard. That's the way it is.
It's true. It's gonna hurt. Stuff's gonna hurt, man. I'm telling you. Kawhi mentioned sociopath. That is one. There's the dark triangle of I don't know if they call it disordered temperaments or whatever, you know, but like these are the ones. There's psychopaths, sociopaths, and narcissists, and the thing they have in common is they lack empathy. They can't step into other people's shoes. They can't see things from another person's point of view. They're totally self-focused, and they're totally like, I mean, but they kind of take pleasure in seeing others in pain, especially if it benefits them. Like that's the dark triad. Yes, thank you. Yep. Yeah, you better not let anybody abuse Ryan.
Thanks. I appreciate you.
And you better not do it either.
Oh, man. He's been good. Uh-oh. Who's coming after you? And he's an airbender, so I'd watch out.
YouTube is muting your violent
Oh, man.
Yeah, you know, it's a crazy thing. Things get messed up in your head when you go through stuff. I'm sorry, you know, but yeah. Anyway, we're not gonna go into that whole spiel, but
I will throw them out a window. Oh, that's called.
Insist someone has an illness. One isn't hypochondriac. Isn't that somebody who's insisting that they themselves have an illness, even though they don't?
Is that called disfenestration?
I don't know, maybe.
When you throw someone out the window, disfenestrate? If anyone knows the word, there's a word that means to throw someone out the window.
No, Baca said, what's the two that someone insists that someone has an illness?
Oh, no, I was referring to what Super Neon Blue said, but yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think one is hypochondria, but I think that's, you know, I'm like me being convinced that I'm sick, no matter what a doctor tells me, no matter what anybody tells me, no matter whatever, you know. But I guess sometimes that's legit though, because sometimes people know there's something wrong with them. I've seen this happen before, and then they go to all these doctors, and the doctors are like, nope, and then they go to a specialist, and the specialist is like, actually, you have lupus. Yeah. Or you have, you know, rheumatoid arthritis or whatever, right? And so like, but a lot of autoimmune diseases are really tough to spot sometimes.
Awfulness. And they kept on telling her it's what do they call it? Fibrosis. What?
Fibromyalgia?
Fibromyalgia, that's it, yeah. Fibromyalgia. And she's like, it's not fibromyalgia, it doesn't make sense. Disease. And then my brother was like, fibromyalgia is just what they tell you when they don't know what they're talking about. When they don't know what it is that you have, they just say, oh, it's fibromyalgia. And then it has this whole list of things that it can be. And it's like, so she was insistent, like, so she went from hospital to hospital, hospital to hospital for like 5 years or more. And then finally, she happened upon this girl who was like, yeah, you might have Lyme disease. Go check with this specific doctor who actually tests for Lyme disease, because the regular tests for Lyme disease are only 60% accurate, and they refuse to do the other test that's like 90% accurate because it's really expensive for doctors. And so she's like, all right. So she went and did it, and they're like, yeah, you have Lyme. You've had Lyme for a good many years now, and yeah, that's really hard to recover from, but we're going to try our best. So yeah, it was really rough. But she was like insistent, like, I do not have what these people are telling me I have. And every one of them came up with something, and then they said, no, that's not it. And then there's something else, and they said, no, that's not it. I guess it's just fibromyalgia. And she's like, that's it. I'm done with you guys. She eventually found someone. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Well, anyways, just on the note of.
Yeah, that's all. Yep.
Anyways.
I think I've said what I've got to say.
I said what I got. Yeah, sorry we went off topic.
I've said my piece.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the
Got my eye on you, Nyan Blue.
Whoa. making rhymes. Gonna be a rapper.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, I'd like to hear you do more rapping in some songs.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yeah.
fun. It was fun. That cover of We Want Out we did. That
Yeah.
was
You did great.
a lot of fun.
You did great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. So get on with the next one.
Nice.
Oh
I
man,
like
those
that
eyes.
emote.
That's amazing. Okay.
Oh man.
Thank you so much again for that topic. It was a great topic. There's obviously so much to be set up on it, and a lot of it is opinionated. But I hope that we did it justice, and hope that some of it helps you make decisions about your friends and who you listen to and all that. Feel free to listen back on it if it was too much information. It's always nice to just listen to it again and recapture some of that in your head, because I know that I have to do that often when it comes to listening to other people talk for a really long time about a subject. So don't ever pass that one up. It's always a good idea. On to the next one. This one is titled Moved by Friction. It
Fiction.
also was anonymous. So
Fiction, not friction.
Oh, sorry. Moved by fiction. Did I say friction? Weird. Okay. Moved by...
I heard friction. I don't know. Maybe
I probably
you did say
said friction. Moved by fiction. Fiction. Moved by fiction. Oh, that's you. I'm going to go ahead and throw it up on the screen here.
Throw it up, man.
That way. That sounds gross.
Throw it.
I'm going to go ahead and throw it on the screen for you guys to go ahead and read along if you so desire. You've probably already read it by now. Once again, it's titled Moved by Fiction, and it reads as follows. Crying much to a fictional character's death. That's it. Crying much to a fictional character's death. Moved by fiction. Now I understand the title and why it makes sense. Yeah, absolutely, very relatable. Trying to remember, I may have cried to a fictional character's death before, but most likely not. I've definitely been moved by fictional characters and their experiences, though, and I've definitely cried at some of them. No, none of them having to be death, but definitely cried because of fictional characters before. And I think that's such a lovely thing. I think someone that does justice to this idea is Jordan Peterson, and I know that maybe not everybody likes him, but not that bad of an individual. Regardless,
are you pointing that out me?
Huh? Oh, well, you never said you dislike him. You just don't know him that much. And you heard one of his things.
I know him enough.
Yeah, you heard one thing that he said that one time.
I know his attitude, and that's enough.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Are you acting like you have an attitude right now, man?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, yeah, you don't have to like him if you don't want to. But yeah, he said some things that does this justice, and that, like, it's amazing how true fiction can be. How fiction can be more real than real life sometimes, because it can hit at real inner things going on inside of us that a lot of times just like we don't address or we don't notice, we don't pick up on. And it can do a great job at pulling your notice to those things. And then there are ways that you get attached to certain characters that are amazing, even though they're fictional and you can't form a relationship with them. At least not a typical one where you guys are interacting with each other. And yet we can become attached. We can become emotionally moved, for good or for ill. And so I think there are times where we can take it too far. There are extremes. I've seen people try to get married to fictional characters. I think that's a bit of an extreme. But I mean, at the same time, marriage doesn't mean the same thing to them as it means to me. So to them, it's just, I don't know, it's something different. So I guess that's okay. Fine fine. Whatever they want to do with it, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So, it would be extreme for me to marry a fictional character because it'd be so far outside my understanding of what that would even mean, in those contexts. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, for them, I guess it wasn't that extreme. They did it, and that's cool. I guess, as long as they're not trying to get married to anybody else, I guess they're just gonna live a single life.
It depends on.
Yeah, there's context
on how you define marriage.
Yeah, there's yeah, of course. But anyways, not to go into that debate, but more so just, it's interesting. We can wrap ourselves up in a character so much so that we see that we failed to live our lives out the best way that we could. And maybe those are extremes better addressed. But it doesn't hit that point just because you cry when someone dies, right? If a fictional character dies and it's tugged on your emotional heartstrings, they think that's good, that's healthy, nothing wrong with that. That sounds healthy to me. So anyways, I'm gonna get over to you, Joe. See what you got to say about this. I know you are a good movie watcher and good memory for it too. I can't remember a single thing. I watch a movie and I'm like, did we watch this before? And I'll get 3/4 of the way through and I'll be like, wait a minute, I remember some of these characters. Oh yeah. I wonder how it ends. Yeah, so
I
not
can
me.
memorize movies pretty quickly.
Yeah, that is not my talent. It is the opposite of my talent. I have a talent for not doing that, which is amazing. Anyways, I'm going to give it over to you, so enjoy the topic and enjoy what Joe's got to share.
Well, I don't know if I'll have a whole lot to say. I mean, to me, that's just a sign of good storytelling.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just, hey, because that's what it's designed to do. We're in the business of making music. Good music will also, affect you emotionally. A good song can make you cry. It can make you angry. It can help you relieve anger or, sadness or whatever. It can help you move into those directions. Maybe you just need to cry. And this was just the stimulus that made it happen because somebody was a good storyteller and somebody was a good actor or whatever, or even, like I cry when I watch, I'm not going to lie. I cried when I watched Disney movies with my kids from time to time, cartoons.
Yeah, some of them are really good.
Yep. And that's just good storytelling. They'll move you emotionally.
Yeah.
So they did a good job. And in my mind, like that person who came up with that story and then the directors and all the people who put that together, they did a fantastic job because they were able to reach me emotionally. And so that's not a bad thing at all. And there was really no question in here. It was just like, hey, crying over a fictional character's death. And somebody doesn't have to die for me to cry. Like I could be any number of things. And it could be that I'm tired. And all of a sudden something happens and then I'm just vulnerable at that point because I'm exhausted, and so I'll cry. Or, maybe it's triggering to some degree. There might be something in there that strikes something, deep inside, some undealt with, unresolved issue that I have to deal with. And it points out where I need to work then, right? Because there's all kinds of stuff. Like, I mean, you talk about, this is Valentine's Day. This pointed out some stuff, right? But I don't know. I'll cry when people, in a movie get married because I'm like, oh, that dude, man, poor guy.
That's not even true. You've never cried for that reason. That's funny.
But it doesn't matter. I mean, I remember Old Yeller. It was old movie when I watched it, but we had like somebody made us watch it or whatever. And it's like, everybody cries when Old Yeller dies, right? The dog. And it's a fictional dog. The dog didn't actually die.
Fictional death.
Fictional death. Bambi's mom dies. in Bambi. I'm wrecking. I'm
Spoilers.
spoiling all these
Holy
movies for
crap.
you guys.
I love that one. The
All
spoilers. It happens right at the beginning of the movie. Spoilers. Hey.
right. Yep. But these things move us emotionally, and that's totally okay. We are emotional creatures. So it's totally okay. But one of the things to recognize is that, yes, you are an emotional creature. You're in touch with your emotions. That's good. Here's another thing, though. Here's a little bit of a guideline that I've learned over the years. It's like, okay, try not to let yourself run away with your emotions so much that you make bad decisions in an emotional state.
Hmm.
Right? Whether it be big purchases, big commitments to people, all kinds of stuff. I mean, yeah, a good salesperson will play on your emotions.
Sure.
Because they know we want to make an emotional decision, right?
Yep.
But you also have to do your diligence and think through things as well. Make sure logically this is a good decision. Make sure that, okay, substantially this is a good decision, not just emotionally, because our emotions can go crazy. And I remember my coach was saying, our what was it? Oh, emotions are like the weather.
Hmm.
They come and they go. They pass. And so that's the thing. Like when we're like super excited, that'll pass. When we're super sad, that'll pass. Super angry, that'll sometimes pass. No, it will. But all these things, like emotions come and go like the weather. And different things trigger different emotions. And that's, hey, it's okay. What they can do though is they can be useful signs for pointing to what kinds of things we're attracted to, what kinds of things we're repelled from, what kinds of things that we're into, like not into, all these kinds of things. Like our emotions can be really good guideposts to teach us about ourselves. And we can ask questions of ourselves like, why was I so emotionally caught up in that? And from there, we can start to have an inner dialogue, or we can start to have an inner dialogue with a friend or a coach or a therapist or whoever, whoever, like, depending on our situation and what's going on, it can trigger a conversation that gets to the root of an issue that maybe we have to deal with, if it's something like way out of context. But just, hey, getting emotional over a movie or a fictional character or whatever, hey, that's just, in my mind, good storytelling, good production, good directing, all that, good acting, all of that stuff. I mean, it comes together and creates a performance that is emotionally moving. I've seen dance performances where there was no, like on a stage, there's no dialogue at all. There's just music and people moving their bodies. And I can remember being emotionally caught up in what was going on because of the imagery that was happening and different emotions like this. I remember this one was just total despair from watching this one dance piece. And I can remember other ones that were like, okay, now I'm kind of happy. you know?
Mm-hmm.
But things move us in all these different ways. So I don't think there's a problem here, but I do think it's something that's good to pay attention to, and then maybe you can learn about yourself. So that's kind of what I got. So I'm gonna turn it back over to you, Ryan.
Yeah, that was lovely. I agree completely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't personally usually cry at bad things that happen in movies. I don't cry at deaths. The only time I've ever cried at a sad scene in my life that I remember is it was in an anime called Air TV. Not just air, but air TV. I guess it was the TV version of a novel or something. Anyways, it was many, many, many years ago, in the early 2000s that I watched it. Anyways, I think it was anyways. Doesn't matter. Maybe it was 2010s. Regardless, it was the only actual movie that ever, or show or anything that ever made me cry because it was sad. Generally, I cry when things are happy. Usually when someone has a change of heart or change of mind, or quite often when friends get back together again after having a real rough time with each other. Things like that. Those are the things that usually get to my heart. And so, yeah, I think it does say a lot about, yeah, obviously it's going to say a lot about who you are. It's going to say a lot about the things that you contend with, or, obviously things that are important to you. Because if you cry over something, it's probably important to you, and maybe it's important to you for one reason or another. Maybe it's the unknown aspect. Maybe it's the worry that you have other people in your life that are about to pass, or that could pass in general. Or maybe it's just the knowing that you'll never get to be with them again. These things are pretty normal. And so, I don't know, it's worth looking into just to learn more about yourself and use that as a tool, because I find that there's a lot of good in that. I would like to write stories that make people cry, and hopefully I will. I have one that will eventually come out. That I intend to be, hopefully tug at some people's emotional heartstrings. I think that'd be lovely. But
you've written songs that make me cry, Ryan.
Oh, that's great. All right, I'm doing it. Yeah, and I think that's not, I've read comments about people saying the same thing, right? Listening to songs made them cry, which is good. It's a good thing. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Even if it's all fictional, I think even if it's fictional, it plays into a reality. That reality is you. Reality is what's going on in you, in your mind, and so it says something real about you. And I think that's worth something. So, yeah, I think it's a good thing. Probably a good thing. And thanks for sharing the topic. I mean, I don't really have anything else I can add here. So, yeah, cool stuff.
It's okay to be emotional. We're emotional creatures. It adds to the whole complexity and fabric of human existence.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Absolutely. There's a lot to be said about beauty.
Emotions. There is.
Yeah. Beauty can cause us to cry or be changed. So, storytelling is beautiful. It's an art. And all art is potentially beautiful. So, even death is beautiful. Even if it's not always beautiful. Sometimes it's not. But there's beauty there. You're willing to see it. But yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember reading a book by a guy who was he was a hospice doctor. And had been a hospice doctor for a couple decades, and he wrote this book about some of the experiences he's had with people in their last moments. And you hear about all this. He had tremendous stories about people and their reconciling with themselves and with others and all this kind of stuff, and reconciling with the world and doing all, like, it was just incredible as he watched people go through that last phase of their life. He found such joy in being a caregiver for these people as they're facing this moment, which we all face, right? And his stories were really, really cool. But
yeah, that is quite the thing. You just made me remember two things. Like, the reason I cried for that one anime when she died was because of the reconciling, was because of everything that they was going on before she died. She didn't just die.
Mm.
She went through stuff before she died. And there were people around her going through stuff while she was dying. You know, there was all this amalgamation of stuff.
I love that word, amalgamation.
Amalgamation, yeah. And then I just realized there was another fictional thing that made me cry because of a death. But it wasn't the death itself. It was a part of it again. Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII, a lot of people can relate to this one. If they
made you
if they
cry?
ever played it. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII, there's a character that dies in it. And when they die, there's this precious jewel. So as not to spoil anything, that bounces down the steps, like a marble bouncing down some steps. And like the first hit, it plays the first note and few notes of their theme song, but like slow version, and then it hits again and it plays the next few notes, and then it just hits again, and every time you're just like it just gives me goosebumps just talking about it right now because it is so well made. It was absolutely the most brilliant design of a death in a game ever, because the character has its theme song and it's playing the theme song while they're dying, and it's playing like the slow, sad version of their theme song, which is already kind of slow and somber. But yeah, it was it was Nobuo Uematsu. His piece, it was his song that compelled the emotion. And it was that moment that, it wasn't that moment immediately, but it was that moment many years later that I would call back to, that it was like, yeah, music is actually powerful. Music is something worth pursuing. I'm going to try to get better as a songwriter. I'm going to try to get better as a pianist, because I was like, wow, yeah, it can move you. Music can move you. What's going on in the story can absolutely move you. Yeah, the early 2000 animes were tearjerkers for sure. A lot of good ones.
Yeah. So I don't think there's anything wrong with you, Anonymous. I think you're in good company here.
Yeah.
And it's okay to cry.
It's okay to cry. Sometimes you gotta cry.
You just
it's
gotta.
Okay. It's okay to let it out.
You just gotta.
Yeah, I don't think that they were I don't think they were worried about whether it was okay or not.
I don't think so either.
I think they just wanted to talk on the subject about the fact that we can be moved by fiction. I think that's a really beautiful thing. I think there are people who have put into more eloquent and beautiful words than I have about the role that fiction plays in our society. I think that fiction is very important, and a lot of times it points out truths that we're not willing to address, or we don't notice to address. And it's a great platform for getting out. I mean, it's really a great platform, storytelling, for helping people, because your story can change the way they think about life forever.
You bet.
And it happens. So
you bet. I've had 2 books. The last 2 books recommended to me have been fiction. One by my coach and one by my former best friend from high school. You know, I asked him. He's a literature professor. You know,
nice.
At
you'd hope he's read
Alma
some
College.
things.
Yep. And so I was like, "So, what's your favorite book?" And without hesitation, he says, "Moby Dick."
Oh wow. Wow,
well,
that makes
it's one of the
sense.
classics, right? It's a classic.
People don't know the story.
He's like, they don't, and I've never read it before. And so he was like, "You've never read Moby Dick before?" I'm like, "No, I've never read Moby Dick before." He's like, "You should read Moby Dick. It's not about the fight with the whale."
No, Moby
I
Dick.
mean, that happens in the story, right? But it's about, you know, like all the stuff that happens. You know, I mean, that's basically one thing at the end that happens, right? You know, but like all that happens throughout this big old book is just tugs on you emotionally and teaches you all kinds of lessons and does all like it's just crazy. I
I
can't
haven't read
remember
it
what the other
myself.
book recommendation was.
Yeah. I haven't read it myself,
But
obviously, because I don't really read books, but I know that Moby Dick is an incredible story, a phenomenal one. And generally speaking, people in their, like, what people know about it does not even come close to what actually the book entails. And another one that is a very good read that also is horribly misunderstood or misrepresented is the original Pinocchio. Apparently, the original Pinocchio is really, really, really deep and phenomenal and just is so full of symbolism and like just brilliance. And then someone else made a different version of it, another version of it, and then the Disney movie. And then by then it's just
Disney
like
got a hold of it, and then it was this big corporate behemoth piece of
and it
whatever.
has I think that's right. Yeah, the original. I don't know who it is. That sounds right, but yeah, the original Pinocchio. I think it was written in Italian, so but then translated to English.
Carlo Collodi,
Perhaps.
Alfonso says
That's quite possible. I don't know. You'd have to do the research yourself. But the original, whatever the original one was, that one apparently is a really, really good book. It's a fictional story, but it's really apparently incredibly beautiful, and just really gets at real life issues and real like inner trauma that we have to deal with and things like that are deep and profound.
Wait, you're telling me a story about a marionette that comes to life is fiction?
What? No, okay, sorry. It's only half fiction. The part where it comes to life and is a real boy is real. Yeah, the original Pinocchio, I think it is dark. Yes. Now I haven't read it. All I've heard is that it's not one of it's not one of the Grimm brothers though. Is that what they're called? The Grimm brothers?
The Brothers Grimm?
Brothers Grimm. Yeah. Because a lot of Disney movies were based off of the Brothers Grimm, but they made them fun. But the Brothers Grimm actually took stories from other people and made them Grimm. But a lot of people don't know that. They think Brothers Grimm are the one that created the stories. But they actually were stealers themselves. Not all of their stories were stolen, by the way. Just several of their stories were already created, and then they turned them really dark. And then Disney got a hold of the dark versions and made them light again. But it voided, at least in the case of some stories, completely voided the whole original meaning and concept.
Hey, dark can be beautiful.
I'm not saying it can't be. I think that it can be very much. Hey, my favorite key to
Dante's Inferno is pretty dark, but it's pretty good.
I mean, a lot of the songs I write have dark themes in them, and I like minor keys more than major keys. Yeah. Anyways, now it is 5 minutes past. Thank you all for joining us for Don't Worry Wednesday.
What?
Past 2 p.m. for me.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, it's 5 minutes past 2 p.m. Means it's 5 minutes past 10 for you.
Eastern Standard Time.
That's right.
What is your time zone actually called?
Who knows?
You don't even know?
Nope, don't know.
You just know that it's
Melbourne time zone. Australian. Super Neon Blue, can you help me? What's our time zone called?
What's the time zone you guys are in?
Yeah, plus 11. GMT plus 11, I think.
GMT plus 11.
Something like that.
Hey,
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if they use the names over here.
Yeah.
Oh, you've never seen the Disney
GMT
version of Pinocchio.
-5, I think, right? Eastern?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Maybe. I think
Yeah,
it depends on daylight savings.
Daylight slavings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No one knows
Cool.
what our time
Well,
zone is
anyway,
called, so here we are.
it's not a big deal. I was just curious.
Yeah.
I was like,
Fair
hey, figure you're down there. Maybe you knew these things. Maybe not.
Nope.
Whatever.
Nope. I've asked the question myself before, but then I forgot to answer it. So, maybe one day I'll Google it. Yeah. There's a live action for Pinocchio? I didn't know that.
There is.
Oh.
I've never seen it. Saw a
Huh.
preview for it.
Oh. When did that come out? A couple years ago?
I don't know.
I don't pay attention
I
to
lost
these
all
things.
track of time a handful of years ago.
That's true. A year ago was
It's
yesterday
just like,
sometimes.
hey, look, it's another day, man. Here we go. What am I doing today?
Tom Hanks. They had Tom Hanks? That's awesome. Guillermo.
Ooh,
Del
Guillermo del
Toro.
Toro did a Pinocchio? Wow. He's a fun actor. Or wait.
I don't know how to spell his name.
Is he an actor or director? Who am I thinking of?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I think you're thinking of Guillermo.
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 Del Toro.
Del Toro. Guillermo del Toro. There you have it. All right, thanks guys for No Worry Wednesday. I hope you had a wonderful time. I hope you thought that was found something in there thought-provoking and helpful to your life. If not, that's okay. Hope you come to the next one. And thank you for everyone in the chat.
It'll be tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh wait, what?
It won't be tomorrow.
Oh,
It'll
okay.
be in a week.
I was surprised for a second there. We'll have one next week at this time.
Yeah.
And yeah. Thank you. Oh yeah, thank you. That's where I was at. Thank you everyone who's posting in the chat helpful things for the topics. They're much appreciated. Thanks for all your love, and we love you too. And we will be happy to see you next week. So I'm looking forward to that. See you guys later.
Bye guys.
Bye bye. Peace.